Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Punt Situation with Polk and Scott. How's it going, Scott?
Doing great, Polk. Ready for week 2. Hope you're ready for your lineups and everything. You think you're going to do good this week?
Yeah, I'm ready. Got to make a few more adjustments. We got the ins and outs. I think Higgins is going to play, so I'm going to throw him in on one of my lineups. But other than that, I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Fortunately, with Kamara, more likely he's going to be out. This week in our league, so kind of sucks for me. But hey, football, right?
Yeah. You got me in one league and Lindsay in the other, huh?
Yep. It's playing the Polks this week.
That's right. Well, we like to win, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I wish you like to win.
Yeah, well, I like to win. She tries, right?
Yeah, she does. She's come a long way since her first fantasy, so I am proud of her. She keeps, sticking with us. I don't know why, but I'm proud of her. So we're gonna jump into it. We got a long list of ins and outs, and let's just go ahead and get started here. Guys, I also have defense on here too, so I know a lot of you guys are. So I went ahead and put this on here. TJ out. TJ Watt is out for week 2. Pictorial. Place him on the IR. Looks like he might be out for another 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see. Maybe longer than that. That's the only thing for Pittsburgh right now. Patriots, Joshua Bledsoe growing, Trent Brown, tackle, linebacker, Raquan McGinley, safety, Adrian Phillips, and Pierre Strong Jr. And Sean Wade are all questionable for that game. You're just going to have to check back and see there. The big was quarterback Mac Jones, who was taken off the injury report. Now he has no designation. He will be playing. He just had a little illness and back injury, but he should be playing on today's game. Panthers linebacker Brandon Smith doubtful for this game. Go ahead and get him out. Wide receiver Shai Smith. I doubt anybody would have him, but he's questionable to play. Scroll up, please, sir.
No.
Okay. Well, guys, you just need to check again. Going to be out. Giants got a lot. Nick McLeod, hamstring. Jason Pinnock, shoulder. Aaron Robinson, Wardell Robinson, all out. 18. Pronounce his last name. Thibodeau and Arbuckle as well. Tooney was questionable, but he is now going to be playing on today's game. This was done yesterday here. Thibodeau may be kicked out another week as the rookie is officially listed out on Sunday in the Panthers. Tooney was limited in practice Thursday and Friday, but like I said, he's going to be playing this week. If you want to put him in, go ahead and get it. Going for the Commanders here, guard Wes Switzer, hamstring. Polk, can you please go? Kareem Curl, thumb injury. Jonathan Allen's questionable. Lions has center Frank McGrow growing in out. Jackson Finger guard. So not looking good for the front line for Detroit there. And we know that the rest of these guys are questionable. Very Swift will be playing, but he's going to be limited on his carries today. Paul?
Yeah, so my concern is that Sinner's going to be out. Really good running it up the middle. last week, and that line, right? That's everything for Swift's production. And then you worry about Swift with his ankle injury. Enlisted a couple, did not practice this week. I think he got into practice Friday, limited. So I think it's going to be Swift is going to get his carries, but look for, like Scott said, a limited role. Be a little weary with that line, with the a vital piece missing on that line. He's kind of Frank's the leader right now. So just don't expect Swift to do what he did last week.
Right, exactly. See a little bit more of the long lanes over there as well. If I'm going to be pass heavy today, I would consider to put St. Brown and probably Chalk in, and look for Hawk as well. New York Jets, Zach Wilson's still out, so you're going to have Joe Flacco, and he is nursing an injury as well. CJ Uzada will be not playing. Braxton Barrows, Hill. Pretty much everybody in that New York Jet lineup is pretty questionable right now. Browns, their tackle, Chris Hubbard, elbow illness, he's out, and Jack Crumplin. So, Polk, with the Browns over there, with their two linemen possible being out, how do you feel with Hunt and Chubb today?
I still like him. I don't think now Hunt's touchdowns. He got really lucky, right? So he is the passing back. Seems to be the red zone back. But I like them both today. Probably Chubb. I think Chubb may crack the end zone, but
that's what I was thinking today too. I mean, he had over 100 yards last week, didn't get a touchdown. I see him getting a touchdown this week.
Exactly. So, Hunt just he's really good with the ball in his hands, especially coming out of that backfield. But they left him uncovered. The Panthers both times didn't have anyone close to him. So I don't think the Jets fall for that, even though the Jets aren't a really good team. They have a pretty decent defense. They've drafted some guys the past couple of years, brought some guys in. So I think they do a little bit better. And then you talk about Zach Wilson being out. I think Zach Wilson kind of lost that job. I think, he hadn't been productive, right? The Jets looked like a different team last week. They looked pretty good with Joe Flacco. So
right, Corey Davis looked great.
Corey Davis looked good. He looked like a number one receiver, right?
Right. Can you scroll up just a little bit for me, please?
Yep.
Like I said, Joe Flacco would be the starter for Sunday, so Wilson will be rolled out officially. Uzada's status does seem to be trending in the wrong direction. He didn't participate on Friday, or popping up in an injury report, hamstring injury on Thursday. So going with Colts, Alec Pierce has a concussion, but it looks like he will be playing with the reports. Shaquille Leonard out. Michael Pittman is out with a quad injury. For Leonard, like my. He had a great game last week with Matt Ryan. I thought, if he got to play this week, definitely had a great game to get defense there. Also, cornerback Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner, both questionable. So, check them out. Make sure that they as well. Pittman didn't practice on Thursday or Friday due to quality on Wednesday. They're optimistic that Pittman will be fine. They just want to be safe. This is got a long season, so they don't want to hurt him at all. So Polk, what's the Colts looking at there? Would you use Hines this week to help? For a flex?
Maybe. So they got that kid who caught a touchdown last week that they really like. Little speedster that they're going to use a little bit more this week.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me pull it up. I can't think of his name right now. They used him at Dublin. Is it Dublin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dublin looked good. So look for him. I think he's the biggest contributor since Pittman's going to be out and Alec Pierce. Like I said, he caught a touchdown last week. He's looked good when they've used him. I think he knows the playbook. And then, Paris Campbell is going to be used. And like you said, I don't know. I mean, Jonathan Taylor looked great last week. I think he continued to hand him the ball. And it doesn't matter who Matt Ryan targets. Everybody's going to get touches.
Yeah, I agree. Can you move up just?
Yeah. You keep saying up.
Or down, whatever. Same thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Jaguars doesn't have anybody on injury report, so going to the Buccaneers, man, they had a lot. Chris Godwin, hamstring, quarterback Zion McCollum. Devon Smith, don't know about the both apple. Mike Evans is game time decision there. More likely, Leonard Fournette hamstring, he's going to play. Russell Gage, that's game time decision, and Julio Jones is a game time decision. Rashard Perriman, knee injury. Polk, man. Here's offense, man. Not looking great right now. With the wide receivers. Who's your major concern on? Is it Mike Evans or Julio Jones right now? I know Mike Evans is going to play. They're already saying he's going to play, but
Well, Julio Jones, you got to remember he's battled through a lot of injuries. He did that, in his days with the Falcons. So I don't think it's a problem. I think you still see good production. Maybe he don't get the handoffs out of the backfield like he did last week. He's probably going to run a little bit more routes, probably out of the slot a little bit, especially with Chris Godwin being out. And I think that's the big one right there. We talked about it. We were concerned about that hamstring and that re-injury and things like that. And now, here he goes out again.
Yeah.
I think that it was a good addition for Julio Jones, and I think he benefits this week. And then, it's going to be the same thing. Fournette, I think, should get his healthy amount of carries. And Rashard really shouldn't factor in. So,
right, I agree. So again, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, look out for them. It's going to be pretty close to game time decision. Just check before before the game starts here. All right, Saints quarterback Paulson ankle is out. So Alvin Kamara is out as well. Twycon Smith shoulder. Running back DeJuan Watson. Jason Winston should be playing. He just had a little back injury there. Mark Ingram has a ankle injury, and it seems like Mark Ingram is always in the injury report. Anton Taylor is questionable. So Mark Ingram is supposed to take over the role. Looks like it might be Tyson Hill time, right?
Yeah, you're going to see a little bit more Tyson Hill this week, I think.
Yeah.
He had his opportunities last week, and he didn't do terrible with them. Tyson Hill he's a great player.
He's a jack of all trades. Right. He had 4 carries, 88 yards, and I got a touchdown out of that. He did. Guy to be available in DraftKings and super cheap in the tight end. I would sneak him in your lineup this week if you're going to be using him. Like I said, Tampa Bay's going to be out with Godwin. match with the Saints after the wideout missed practice all week due to his hamstring. Todd Bowles said Friday the injury was released. Meanwhile, Evans did return bases. Like I said, keep a lookout. Kamara is officially out now for Sunday's game. So he didn't practice Thursday or Friday. So guys, keep an eye out for Kamara for next week as well. They're not saying this injury is bad, but they're not saying it's nothing. So, Polk, can you scroll?
So you starting Kamara?
Hey, but sometimes you never know. he could go with Josh Jacobs, and say he's going to be out, and all of a sudden he's playing.
Man, that was like your only chance of beating me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right.
I did. So Dolphins, Ravens. What do you need?
I'm not even seeing it right now. There we go. Got it. All right, so tight end, it really doesn't matter. Stephen Carter, concussion out. Solomon, Ahmad Hill, Teron, defensive end, Christian Wilkins back, and tight end Hunter Long, all questionable. Not really worried about the tight ends, not really worried about Solomon either, but you need to check out your defense if you have them there. Ravens tackle Ronnie Stately, James. Not really about J.K. Dobbins. More likely he's not going to be playing this game. Marlon Humphrey, Growing, Travis Jones, Marcus Peters, Patrick Richard, Brandon Stevens, all questionable for this game, so make sure you check before the game starts on that. Polk, Dolphins are playing the Ravens. How do you feel about that game, man? You think the wide receivers are going to be looking good in this game?
Yeah, especially if Marlon Humphrey doesn't go. Also, Marcus Peters. So you got their two best corners. If they don't play, it's already going to be hard to cover Waddle and Hill, and then Growing and knee injury. It's just going to make it that much harder if they do play. So I expect them to both have a really good game. I think they're running Hill at like 17 fantasy points projected, and then you got like 14 for Waddle. So Waddle got the touchdown last week. I think Hill can crack the end zone this week. But I think the Dolphins, especially if their defense plays like they did, they're going to be rocking and rolling, right? They just have to cover Duvernay, which is super gross. So it shouldn't be a problem playing the dude's on his third year. Finally got his, it wasn't his first touchdown, but it was pretty damn close to his first touchdown. So we're not concerned with them at all. Lamar Jackson actually stayed in the pocket, actually had made some really good throws last week. So, that's somewhat worrisome, but at the same time, he's not playing to his strengths, and his strength is running. If he don't do that and we're able to keep him in the pocket, I think we win that game pretty easy.
Okay. You think the fantasy points between Hill and Waddle will be still close like last week?
Yes, I agree. I think they will be. Hill's getting the production and Waddle's getting the chunk plays. So I think that continues. Now at any point in time, Hill can break it, but so can Waddle. We seen him last week when he caught that touchdown. He caught it in between three defenders and was just able to split them. He just shot out of there and trotted into the end zone. So. That's the great thing about it is both those players are fast, and anytime they have the ball in their hands, they're able to break it. And it's real scary when you got two of those.
Right. I agree with you. All right. I'll say that it's something to keep an eye on. Quarterback to Lola. You went too far, buddy. All right. Certainly want him in the lineup to stop the pass rushers with Wilkinson, Wilkins, being out, with his back injury, they're flaring up this week. It's a concern a little bit in my offensive line with him being out. I think he'll be out today. A lot of people are concerned that he's not going to be able to throw those passes like he did last week. I don't have any concerns with him doing that. He has impressed me in week 1 so far. Paul, has he made any impression on you? I know Tua has been not your guy for the Dolphins team offense, but I mean he did look good last week.
Yeah, I don't know. So look, don't get me. I'm a Dolphins fan, right, guys? Was not a fan of tanking for Tua. Was not a fan of Tua. Now he has when he's 4-0 against the Patriots. The guy is a great manager, right? A game manager. Never does anything exceptional. I don't know. When I watch him, he kind of reminds me of Jacoby Brissett that year in Indianapolis, right? Like he's not the most accurate passer. He ain't got the strongest arm. He does okay getting the ball out of his hands and trying to find the receiver. When he runs, it looks awkward. I'm glad they got him the weapons that they did, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, great. Dobbins practiced all week long. I know everybody was happy to see that, but the way things are looking, another healthy scratch this week. The official reports haven't come out, but people are saying he's not going to be playing this week. So if you have Dobbins in your lineup, get him out there.
Hey, real quick, Scott.
Yeah.
I got ESPN pulled up in the background. And have you seen that Tyrod Taylor's suing the Chargers doctors?
Soon. What's going on? Can you explain that a little bit more?
So last year, he was the starter, and I think it was game 3. They went to give him a steroid shot or something, and actually punctured a lung, went too deep, punctured a lung, and so then Herbert came in, and that's the end of that case, right? Well, apparently he's suing them. He lost money in that deal. Players when they sign these contracts, they're signed to incentives and things like that. And he's saying that that's the case, that he didn't get some of his incentives, things like that. So he's kind of pursuing that. Should be real interesting to follow and watch. Just a little drama for the,
Yeah.
And not terrible drama, right? I mean,
right.
I think, I don't know. It's a crazy situation, right? Because Herbert came in and now he's the forever guy, and Tyrod Taylor's a little upset, and just something to follow. Just
hey, what team is he on right
now? So I think he plays for Houston, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Can you move up, please?
Yeah. Oh, behind old Davis Mills.
Davis Mills, yeah. Yeah, he's not happy right now.
Who looks phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah. Kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so Seahawks safety Joe Burrow hamstring doubtful. He will be playing today. Cornerback Artie Burns growing. Cornerback Justin Coleman questionable for the game. 49ers, their offensive line, Daniel Brunskill, there we go. Hamstring is out. George Kittle was questionable, but more likely he's going to be out in this game. Guys, we got George Kittle. Don't worry, one day Kittle will be back in play again. Polk, 49ers, should be another Debo Samuel kind of day, right?
Yeah, it should be. It surprised me they actually used him to run last week. I don't think that's going to stop, right? Especially with Elijah Mitchell out, Jeff Wilson being the starter there. So remember that. Now, I've seen a few leagues drop him. Don't drop him. You can IR him. He's going to be out about 8 weeks, but he'll come in strong towards the end. He is the starting running back for a reason. He is the best running back to have in that backfield. So And then you talk about George Kittle. He's out another week, but expect him to play next week. He did get a little bit of practicing in on a limited basis, but they just want to make sure that he's full go when he does come back. And, the first 3 games isn't a huge deal, so they can manage without him.
Please.
Yep. Scott, who you got on that game right there?
On the 49ers?
Yeah, 49ers and Seahawks.
I think they're going to be Brandon Ayuk a little bit more over there this week, just because they're, not going to have Kittle, not going to have Mitchell. Surprisingly, Seahawks pretty good. I'm going to give it to the 49ers. I'll give it to them. What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, I think 49ers just got more talent. Now, don't get me wrong, Geno Smith did really well last week, so and the defense played pretty good. So it might be another close game. You know what? Fuck it. No, I'm gonna take the Seahawks. Fucking 49ers lost to the Bears, so they suck. I just can't get that. I can't get over that. I'm never getting over that. You lost the Bears. You're garbage.
All right, man.
Number 1 draft pick, 49ers. You heard it here first.
You heard from Polk. All right, guys. So Falcons, they only had one. Damian Williams out. Not really a big deal. I mean, sorry, not really a big deal. Rams center Brian Allen, knee injury. Out. Tackle Joe no knee. Safety Matt Orzik, calf injury, Leonard Floyd questionable.
Hold on, Scott. So they got a little graphic up, pretty neat. CeeDee Lamb had the most offers. Kirk Cousins had the most accepted trade offers, and Saquon Barkley had the most rejected trade offers.
Wow!
Neat from week 1.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Kirk Cousins and a on C-line, but like second or Saquon there.
That's crazy. All right, so
yeah, people. Go ahead.
No, buddy.
So basically, what that's saying is everybody was trying to capitalize on CeeDee Lamb's bad game. Don't do that. Kirk Cousins, yes, I mean he is a viable, like we've always said, a good starting quarterback. So it looks like people were able to move him for that backup position or for injuries, right? Because we've seen Herbert go down. Kirk Cousins would be a good backup, and then Barkley. People are trying to trade and get Barkley. Barkley looks like Barkley of old, and the people that drafted him it's paying off. So.
Yep.
Awesome. Sorry to interrupt, man. It was pretty neat. I figured I wanted to share that with some of the people. You should always be trying to make moves. So,
I agree with you. All right, so that would be like
in week 2, like I said, not really a big deal. Missed practice all week. His absence could be good. Tyler Algier might be getting you guys drafted him. In this week, I know they're playing against the Rams this week, but hey, I mean, what else have they got over there? I know he's going to be behind Cordell Patterson, who rushed 120 yards week 1, but don't expect Cordell Patterson
120 plus yards again this week.
I know a lot of people were upset with Allen Robinson leaving lips, but they did talk about that this week. How they McVay needs to utilize him a little bit more. You got this guy for a reason. He is still a number 1 wide receiver in my mind. Polk, you see Allen Robinson?
That's right for
yeah, so they're not going against the Bills, and we talked about it. So the Bills' pass rush was they were on Stafford, and when you got guys coming through there, you find your comfort zone, right? You want to get the ball out. You know where Cup's going to be. You practice with him. Y'all have breakfast every day. So that's the guy he was looking for. I think this week he's going to have a little bit more time to set up and actually make his reads and progress through his reads. And that's where he's going to be able to find Allen Robinson. I think it's vital that they get Allen Robinson the ball this week. You got everybody. You're going to have double coverage on Cooper Kupp, right? I mean, the guy's still going to be able to catch it. He's still going to be open, but everybody's going to be trying to cover him. Allen Robinson is just going to be out there running his routes and killing it like he always does. So I think he's going to be able to get the ball. I think I'm going to look for him at least 6 catches, and we'll see if it's Allen Robinson of old where he can do something with that.
Yeah, I agree. How do you feel about Henderson and Akers this week?
Henderson, I lean more towards Henderson right now. We know that Akers in the doghouse for something, right? We're just not quite sure what it is. With that being said, Akers didn't know that his role was going to be that limited. The coach never said anything about that leading up to that. So, right now, all we know for sure is that they're both going to get touches. And it looks like Henderson right now is the lead back. So he's the guy I would lean towards starting. Akers, if you have him and you have to start him, I'm sure that's not terrible. I think he has a little bit better week than he did for sure, right? Last week he had, like 2 yards or something. So there's only, up from there. But just don't expect 20 carries, because from what we can tell right now, that's just not going to happen in that offense. So, maybe a flex position if you have to play him. But if I have any other options, I'm probably setting him this week.
Okay. All right. So let's go with the Cardinals over here. Isabella back. Ron, they're both out again. Corner Trayvon Mullen. Some neck injury.
Game Thomas toe injury and J.J. Watt all questionable for this week there. And then the Rangers have
center Andre James concussion and Trayvon linebacker Denzel Perryman ankle out and Brandon Bolden doubtful for this week. So kind of Isabella and Moore have been rolled out by injury hamstring. Look, I'm not worried about Isabella. I'm not worried but AJ Gracie hasn't been seen like he's been a factor this week. I know they targeted Zach Ertz as well. But what do you think from Canada? Do you think that James Conner is going to be used like this week, or is it Connor Murray's going to work with his feet and try to find some guys out there?
No, I don't think much changes. He's still got Hollywood Brown. They have a lot of options. Even with Andy Isabella was like number 5 or 6 in the pecking order. Rondo Moore was 4. So they still got AJ Green. They still got Hollywood. I don't think much changes, right? Like, as long as it's not double XP weekend, they should have a pretty decent time out there. And, it's Kyler Murray, so yeah, he's going to use his feet. And I don't think James Conner's. I talked about this before, and in some of the things I'm in, I don't think James Conner has near the year he had last year. I looked for him at like RB20, maybe a little bit lower at the end of the season. He was just too touchdown heavy. I don't think that happens, right? I mean, he did get a touchdown last week. He don't get that touchdown. Like, his numbers are actually terrible. They're bad. So I just be weary. It's never been, I think, that great of a starting back besides last year. And like I said, I think it's just crazy. Some of his runs, like, he got it at the 30 and was able to turn it into a touchdown, which is just wild that he did that. I think is a little bit better option. Now, I'm not saying start over Benjamin over James Conner, because James Conner is the number 1 back. I just like his opportunities a little bit better because he is catching the ball out of backfield. He's a little elusive, as where James Conner's kind of just that bowling ball. So,
great. So, guys, I would look at Greg Dortch. Had 7 catches out of 9 targets, 63 yards. An option for you, like maybe for FanDuel, maybe on your wide receiver 3, possible flex.
if you're looking for wide receiver help,
I would pick up Greg Dortch, maybe for a week or two until these guys come back. So, Paul, what do you think on this? And Arizona, who you got to win on this one?
Raiders.
All right,
Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah. And I tell you what, that connection from Carr to Devontae Adams, you could tell there was a lot of chemistry there. Wow, he targeted him a whole lot. So that's going to be a great play this week. If you can stack them, stack them. But yeah, I like the Raiders. And then I wouldn't worry about Hunter Renfrow. Guys, he's going to get his opportunity. He's just, it's Devontae Adams is new. He's shiny. It's like you had your first love, right? Your first car, and then you sold it, and 10 years down the road, you go to purchase it back. You want to get it out there. You want to take it for a spin. But eventually, it's going to be like what it is, and you'll still have your daily driver. And that's kind of what Hunter Renfrow is that daily driver. He's still going to be there. He's still going to get it. Just Carr wanted to take Devontae Adams for a spin real quick last week.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It's going to be like that probably this week, probably next week. He's going to be throwing to him.
it's okay, guys. Don't worry. Like Paul said, don't worry about their water. Don't worry about.
It'll be okay. It'll be all right. All right. So Texans offensive guard Jason Brett, but he is out. Tight end Devin Jordan is questionable. I really wouldn't worry about Jordan over there. They got a new weapon who had 2 touchdowns. Not Carter.
At the end zone there. Is he going to be a factor this week against Broncos?
I don't really think so. I mean, that Broncos defense is tough. Exactly.
Cole just confirmed that Kadarius Toney's playing today.
Okay. So you got him in your lineup. Should be good to go. All right. So offensive line, Quinn.
Guys, I'm sorry to push you.
Hamstring injury, KJ Horn, knee out, Joey Jewell, calf injury. Randy Gregory, shoulder knee. Deshaun Williams back, corner, Kayvon Williams, Billy Turner, all questionable. Man, that's a lot of defensive players over there for Boston.
Well, so I'm concerned with how the team played last week. That's what I'm concerned with. 3 false start or 3 delay games should never happen. I think we talked about this. This just shows with a veteran quarterback, you shouldn't have that problem, right? I get you were in Seattle and all that, but at the same time, come on, that shouldn't happen at all. So the Broncos should have won. They ended up losing. This is another game that it shouldn't be a problem for the Broncos, right? I mean, bringing Russell Wilson in, you thought the Broncos were a playoff team. Their scheme's real weird. Instead of passing, instead of using all the options Russell Wilson had, they tried to run it a whole lot. Wasn't really working out. I think it was close to the second half. It was that touchdown that he finally hit one of his receivers, Jerry Jeudy, where he's got 3 capable receivers. They should be throwing the ball. But anyway, this is a game that Broncos should blow the Texans out of the water. This is another game that I think is going to be really close. And I would not be surprised if the Texans pull it out because the Broncos are not ready to play football.
Wow. You heard from Scott and Polk over there, guys. All right. How do you feel with Courtland Sutton this week and Jerry Jeudy? Who's going to be?
So I like.
Sorry.
Yeah, I like Sutton over Jeudy, but again, they gotta throw the ball. It took them way too long to throw the ball that first week. Which is great if you got Melvin Gordon, if you got Williams, but wow, just wow. I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. I like Sutton, but I don't know if Wilson likes Sutton or the coach, offense coordinator likes Sutton or what. I don't know.
So, can you care about Sutton in your lineup this week, or what? Should we not panic?
No, I still think he's a solid starter. I just it depends. It depends. I think you got something low enough that you might have someone better. You might be able to plug someone else in now. Like let's say if it's Sutton or T. Higgins, I'm probably going to play T. Higgins over Sutton, to be honest. But otherwise, if you're talking like Sutton and Amari Cooper, it's Sutton, right?
Right, exactly. All right, so going down to Bengals and Cowboy game. T. Higgins, concussion problem is going to be playing on today's game, so they will have all three wide receivers over there. Josh Tebow, shin injury, tight end Devin Asahi, questionable, and then of course Michael Gallup is out for week 2. He should be coming back in week 3. Fully participating in Friday's practice. He's looking great. He's heading right. Hopefully, Cowboys, we'll be having another wide receiver over there, and then safety John Curtis is questionable. Polk, is it going to be a massacre over there, Cowboy Stadium today?
Well, as we talked about, they're the only team that didn't score a touchdown last week. CeeDee Lamb's got to be able to catch the ball. It's going to be real hard with Dak being out. So, yes, 30 to 7, 30 to 10.
Okay. Okay. So, what do you think, Jamar Chase over 100 yards touchdown? Is it going to be Joe Mixon show over there?
Oh, they both could have a really good game. No, I think Jamar Chase will have a little bit better game. I think they will eventually run it to try to run that clock out, but we still have Parsons on the other side of the ball, and he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be able to kind of find with him and Van Der Esch. I think they're going to keep mixing. Just not let him have his day, but he'll have still a decent day.
Okay. Do you think Zeke and Tony Pollard this game a lot?
No, I don't think Zeke will be.
You think
Pollard can be.
Okay.
I think you got to get Pollard more. I think that's.
Yeah. Right now, he is a playmaker on that team. You just got to get him the ball some way, somehow. Screens, set him up as a wide. Give him the ball and try to wear down this defense just a little bit there. So, and if you heard my rant, everything on the handle, a WTF segment there. I went out on the Dallas Cowboys, and they got off into this week if they don't score a touchdown. We'll see. Polk, can you move up on here, please?
Yep.
All right, here. All right, so the Bears against the Packers. And Rodgers had a rough week last week. Did not look. Bears had a miracle comeback and won the 49ers last week. The only thing right here is he's not a factor anyway with the Bears offense. The Packers have offensive tackle David Bakhtiari. Sorry. Thank you. Jenkins, the offensive guard, is out. Al Lazar will be playing today, but he could be limited. Polk, that offensive line is Right.
Is he going to be a factor with the run game today?
With Jones and Dillon.
Yeah, I think Dillon actually is a great start. Got plenty of opportunities, and Jones is more of the. I mean, Aaron Jones got used as a passing down, and Dillon was between the tackles. So I think Dillon is a good start if you ended up drafting him. Good job, because you do have that 1.2, starter. Not 100% the starter, but in one of the best situations to be the guy. He's a solid RB2. So I like it. I like him starting, especially with the receivers having the problems that they had last week. They're young, and Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to try to get them the ball, things like that. But there was a couple drops, a couple touchdown drops, and I think it's just going to be a little bit more woes for the better part of the season. So look for that run game to be the staple for the Packers right now.
How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers this week? You think he's going to have a little bit better game? Should you start him if you have him? If you got down on the
I mean, he's a decent start if they catch that touchdown, right? It was like a 40-yard touchdown.
Right.
That's 10 points right there. It makes his start okay. I don't think that they always drop that ball. I think that Aaron Rodgers always throws that ball. So I like his upside better than I would start him. If you drafted him, start him. It depends. If you got Matt Ryan, I'd probably rather start Matt Ryan. But if you're looking at some of the other like Trey Lance, it's definitely
Aaron Rodgers.
It's definitely not Trey Lance, right?
Right. Exactly. Paul, can you move up just a little bit for me, please?
Yeah.
All right, so Titans cornerback Christian Fulton, hamstring, running back Dontrell Hilliard, sorry. Offensive line, Jamarco Jones, elbow, they're all out. I know everybody was like, hey, when you feel that injury really hurt.
The Titans there,
So they're looking pretty rough. Bills, defensive tackle Ed Oliver, ankle out. Defensive tackle Tim Settle. Calf injury, doubtful. Gabriel Davis for that Monday night game. Questionable for that game. Polk, you think he's going to be playing?
I think he plays. He practiced it in limited capacity today. I see him playing. He wouldn't have practiced today. He injured it Friday at practice in their limited practice. So, if it was that severe, he wouldn't have been at practice today.
Okay. So on the waiver wire, number 2 option. Titans have Trey Cameron and Hassan Hawkins.
I haven't heard much about these guys.
Should they worry about Hilliard being out for a while? Status hasn't really said much about his injury too much.
Well, I don't think he's going to be out very long. I think he's going to be limited, right? What's unfortunate is Dontrell Hilliard looked great, right, last week.
Yeah, right.
Definitely. When King wasn't getting it, Hilliard was. So that's unfortunate for the people that ran out and picked him up. He was one of the big waiver wire ads this week. Unfortunately, he just, you wonder if by the time he comes back from his hamstring, if it's just going to be the King Henry, show like it always is. Once he gets warmed up and gets going, right. It's kind of like one of those unstoppable objects, right?
So I got a question for you.
So, King Henry might need the Bills.
Of course, you're going to start him, but man, you feel a little worried about him? 8 minutes.
Well, I'm worried about the production he had last week, right? It wasn't very good. Yes, the Bills looked really good. The only so you got to hit King Henry at the start, right? Once he gets going, it's a little bit harder to stop him. But I think the Bills are fully capable. So, yeah, I do worry, but you do start King Henry. You have to. But I do worry because the Bills were through that line a whole lot, and we'll see if it was just a fluke last week or they're the real thing.
Okay, cool. Guys, I think, you got to start Stephon Diggs. I think he's going to have a great game. If Gabe Davis, for some reason, not plays, but I think he is going to play. If he doesn't, you can pick up Isaac. I bet you can do it.
We'll be that number 2 wide receiver. Yeah, just stop playing there.
Polk, can you please move up? And also, I would note, I put Singletary in your flex this week. If you haven't, their run defense was pretty horrible. I mean, they couldn't stop Saquon last week.
Singletary might have a good game this week.
All right, so not much injuries on the Vikings and Eagles. Eagles doesn't have an injury. Cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. Quad injury is out. Booth didn't practice all week. Patrick Peterson missed practice for personal reasons, but he will play. So that's pretty much it on the injury report right now. I got next segment is going to be a starter and sit 'em. Polk.
Go ahead and
I want you to give me feedback on the starting and sit 'ems there. So this week I got David Carr, Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz. 2 people I don't really care for, but I think they're going to have good games. Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford should have a bounce back week. What do you think about them starters?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. Not a fan of Jalen Hurts, obviously. David Carr, we've talked about it. He should have a really good week. Carson Wentz is coming off a phenomenal week. He was able to spread the ball around. So a little concerned about Scary Terry being that guy over there. And he is the guy, but Carson Wentz did really well spreading that ball. So he's just not going to be hyper-targeted like he has been in the past. Russell Wilson should bounce back. They should actually throw the ball if they watch their tape and seen that they had 3 good receivers running down the field and they were wide open and they decided to hand it off 106 times, then they should have a better week. Matthew Stafford, again, like we talked about, he should have time now this week to find the right receivers and make his throws. When he was rushed, when Stafford is rushed and he just throws it because he is a gunslinger, it equates to interceptions. This week he should have time to be able to make the calculated throws, and it shouldn't be as bad, right? He shouldn't have as many as he did last week. So, I like him. Yeah.
Okay.
So my next I have budget.
Gerald Henderson, Javonte Williams, and Melvin Gordon. I threw Dalvin Cook on this. It's always a must start with him, but Miles Sanders, and the reason why with Dalvin Cook, he just playing a weak running defense this week, so he is a must start. What do you think?
Yeah. So I wouldn't start both running backs. I actually think Javonte Williams is the guy to start right now. Melvin Gordon he did really well with the opportunities, but you don't want to. I mean, but I get what you're saying. If you have one or the other, so I don't know. Then yeah, it's not a bad start. Dalvin Cook, I worry about his production last week. They made it real easy throwing the ball, Justin Jefferson, things like that.
They found a weakness in that Packers secondary over there, and so they utilized it. But this week, they're coming to run defense that just gave up so many yards last week. And I think Dalvin Cook should see a little uptick this week. So, and Miles Sanders, he had a great week last week as well. Again, he's playing a defense, and that's
Just did not do well at all. And
it's just one of those things. I thought I threw it out there. I mean, the obvious you have to start, which players you have to start, but these guys are just a little bit under the radar. I think it'll be decent. Okay, going on to wide receivers here. I got Christian Kirk, Courtland
Robinson, Kurt Samuels, and Greg Dorsch. Again, we talked,
we talked a little bit about the wide receivers again. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, so for the most part, Christian Kirk had a pretty decent game towards the end of the game. Broke 100 yards. So he is the guy in that offense. He's not as good as they're paying him, but he is the number one. I think he should have another decent week. Cortland Sutton, agreed. As long as Russell Wilson is able to find him, Cortland Sutton's the big threat in that offense, and I like it. Allen Robinson, we talked about it. He should have a little bit better week. So all these guys should have a better week than they did last week. Curtis Samuel's the only one I'm a little iffy about. But we talked about it. Wentz does like to spread the ball out. I don't if he don't get what he had. If he don't get that touchdown last week, his numbers aren't as good. But he was a big waiver wire ad this week for a lot of people, a lot of leagues. So, if you feel like you should start him, start him.
Okay. Tight ends, I got Patrick Vermouth, Albert O'Kane, Tyler Henry. What do you think about those three here?
So I love Pat Freiermuth and then Tyler Higbee. I think they were both big ads this week. And like we've talked about, Freiermuth is kind of a guy that I thought should have a good season after his first season. Albert O'Kane. So I'm a little concerned with him because when they came into the game, he was not the starting tight end, right? It was another guy that actually got a couple receptions before was able to come into the game and then seeing the ball. So I worry about that. As we talked about in the preseason, they were talking about that needed the reps. Very talented guy, got great speed. Just concerned that maybe his blocking's not up to par, and he's going to have to get that up to par to be on the field for more snaps, and that's what you want.
Great. So on the defense, I got Steelers. Because they're playing the Patriots this week. Paul, do you have any other defense to add?
Well, the Bengals defense wouldn't be a bad block against Cooper Rush. So anytime there's a backup quarterback coming in, you kind of want to start that defense, right? He's just not the starter, and they say that he's the 32nd best backup in the league. So that should tell you something. So Bengals would be one, and I think they were on a lot of waiver wires. That if you're in a crunch, if you got Baltimore defense, something like that, you really necessarily don't want to start them today, especially with your two corners being out against those great receivers. Then the Bengals wouldn't be a bad one. And then Steelers, the interceptions that they had last week, man, if TJ Watt was in there this week, it'd be nasty, right? It would
be bad. It would be bad. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over to the Sims this week. Got Tom Brady. I have Aaron Rodgers this week and Ryan Tannehill.
Hey, so we got an update real quick. Julio Jones is officially out. Okay. He's not going to be playing that game.
All right, guys. So you heard from here, Julio Jones is out. So far, Mike Evans is going to be the big target over there. So definitely get him out of your lineup. So, Polk, big concern over there at Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, a lot of injuries early in the season, though, right? Hopefully, you get them now, and you can be past them, be over them. By the time playoff hits. So, and that you have the opportunity, you have the time to go ahead and rest these guys. So, I think. It's not a bad decision to rest them. It's not a bad decision. They want them later in the season, and that's.
Yeah.
It's better to happen now than happen, a week before playoffs, right?
Not start sitting this week. Playing a nasty New Orleans Saints defense over there.
I don't know. I don't think you're going to get the production out of Tom Brady that you have in years past. It seems to be a run first team. He does throw it, but look, last week should have been a lot better for Tom Brady, especially against the Cowboys, who, just didn't have. They couldn't maintain a drive, so he's seen the ball a lot more. His time of possession was a lot better. They should have been able to push the ball down the field a little bit better than what they did. Okay.
All right. So next is going to be Aaron Rodgers. He should have a better week this week, but in my opinion, I think he's just
It's not 100%. I think he's just going to struggle again.
And then Ryan Tannehill playing against the Buffalo defense. I mean, come on, guys. What can he do? I mean, he's got Hilliard that's out. His offensive line is just hurting right now. So it sucks.
Scott, I think Alan Lazard actually going to play.
I know he is going to play, but he's not going to be 100% though.
Yeah, agreed. It's just gonna help Aaron Rodgers that much more though, to have him out there, have a guy that he's established with. So again, though, we talked about it. The big start on that is going to be AJ Dillon.
Agreed. All right. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. Keep rocking and rolling.
Okay, so running backs. Give me 1 second here. All right. Running backs: Rashard Penny, Damian Pierce, Breece Hall, and David Montgomery. Get them out of your lineup now. What do you think, Polk?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Damian Pierce, he should see a little bit better game script this week than what he did last week, but they talked about it. So the game situation's called for Burkhead, and Burkhead's going to be that passing back. He a little bit better, a little bit seasoned in the protection for the quarterback, their down back, things like that. So, when the game's looking great and they can run it up the gut, it's going to be Damian Pierce, but it's the Texans, so the game's never looking that great. So just temper your expectations. And yeah, I'm not saying if you have to start him, start him. If you had Alvin Kamara and you had Damian Pierce on your bench, yeah, it's not terrible. He is going to get some points, but it's not going to be what possibly Burkhead could get you in like a PPR. So.
And so wide receiver, Darnell Mooney, Corey Davis, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jacoby Myers, and now I'm going to add one person on here. What do you think about Michael Thomas? Sorry. Should he be?
I like Michael Thomas this week. The touchdowns, right? He got 2 last week. It seems to be he's the end zone receiver. That's where he's always been good. Is the slants, is the short routes, is things like that. The quick action. He did really well in the end zone last week. I think that kind of continues. No, he's not going to be the target monster. He is definitely not going to get 10 passes or the passes that he used to get. But he is one of the most seasoned. And you got Jarvis Landry, but he is one of the more seasoned receivers on that team right now, and so I like his opportunities. I think he's going to do well with them. I think he's a solid start. Now he's not the best start to have, but you're okay if you're starting him. You're okay if you're worried about Gabe Davis, right? Things like that. If you have Michael Thomas, you can put Michael Thomas in.
Okay, all right. So my tight end, I have Austin Hooper. Guys, I've seen a lot of Austin Hoopers in lineups. He's just not that guy anymore. He was, in my opinion, was never that guy. He just had that one decent good year, and that's it. Drop and try to find somebody else. Polk, you agree with me on that?
Yeah, 100%. Didn't like Austin Hooper coming into the season. Don't like Austin Hooper now. Yeah, not good. Not a guy that I necessarily want on my fantasy team. We talked about other guys earlier that look better. Sorry, I got distracted. There was a notification that popped up. Yeah, no. I like where you go with that.
Okay, cool. Defense also, I got the Eagles on there. I think it's just going to be a high-scoring game. Eagles defense, in my opinion, didn't look that great. So, Polk, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I like setting the Eagles defense. I like setting the Cowboys defense this week.
Yeah, I agree. All right, sleepers.
And Baltimore.
Baltimore, agreed. I got Matty Ice. Still think he's going to be a sleeper this week, even though he doesn't have Michael Pittman. I think he's still going to be great. Running back, Jeff Wilson. I'm sorry, go ahead, man. I apologize.
No, you're good. I like it. Again, I feel the same way. I like Matt Ryan. I think he's a solid quarterback. I've always thought he was a pretty solid quarterback. You could tell he had to knock off some of the rust last week, but then there were some terrible drops by his teammates. They don't have that. Matt Ryan's one of the top fantasy players last week.
I agree. Running back, it could be a sleeper this week. Would be Jeff Wilson. He can either have a phenomenal game or he could be having a shitty game. Like I said, he's a sleeper, so we'll see. Any insight on
that? Say again?
I said, do you have any feedback on
that? Jeff Wilson, he is the starter, guys. Now, we talk about it. My favorite word, temper expectations, right? Our phrase. I would temper expectations. That running back room is deep. So he's not going to come out there and he's not going to get 20 carries. But if he can do something with the 10 to 12 to 15 carries he's going to get, then, yeah, he's going to be a great start.
Okay. Wide receiver, Joshua Palmer. Keenan Allen's out this probably for next week. What do you think?
Yeah, Palmer caught the touchdown last week, huh?
Yes, sir.
Didn't he already?
I mean, that was Thursday night's game. I understand that, but Keenan Allen will probably be out next week. Can you feel like Joshua?
So, yeah, with Keenan Allen out, Palmer is a decent start. You got to worry about Herbert's injury, though. They say he cracked some ribs.
Right.
So,
and that's something we're going to talk about here in a second as well. Tight end Hayden Hurst, it's a hit and miss with this guy. That's all.
Yep.
Man. And then the defense of the Commanders. So, Polk, we do have a few questions, and that's why I was bringing up Justin Herbert there. George Flores asked me, he said, hey, man, I've just lost Dak Prescott week 1, now I just lost Justin Herbert. Here's what I have in my waiver wires. Is that Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan?
Carson Wentz.
Okay. So you heard Jordan? Yeah. That hurt a little bit saying that. Man, I don't know.
Especially Matt Ryan sitting there.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the thing is, so you got two great options. You can't necessarily go wrong with either one. I lean more towards Carson Wentz because he's always been a decent fantasy quarterback, right? Carson Wentz has always been in the top 15 of quarterbacks in fantasy, no matter who he's played for. And then you look at Matt Ryan, and you're a little concerned with Pittman being out, with Alec Pierce being out, just the receivers that he has where, Carson Wentz has got Terry McLaurin, he's got Curtis Samuel, he's got good options, Dotson. So I lean towards Carson Wentz. He put up 36 points last week or somewhere in the 30s. He was one of the top scoring fantasy receiver or quarterbacks. So I would grab him, and I would be okay with that decision because you're getting a potential top 15 quarterback in the free agency, especially with the injuries that it's been rough. But if it's a 2-quarterback league, grab both of them.
Okay. All right. So Patrick Anderson asked, Mike Evans or Monte Brown this week. Evans like St. Brown, and he also Evans is going against Marshawn Lattimore, and he's always had a bad, track record with him. So
yeah, no, I'm leaning towards Amon-Ra. Kind of a slow start last week, but Amon-Ra, I think, is just a better. Mike Evans is great, right? Don't get me wrong, but you have the rest of the receivers out. I'm concerned because he's going to draw the coverage, and I mean Mike Evans he's always been an over the top guy, right?
Right.
So he's very boom or bust. Amon-Ra, I think, is a nice middle ground where, especially if it's PPR, he's just going to get the targets, he's going to get the opportunities, and I think he's a great receiver. So. I think he knocked some of that rust off last week, and I think they continue.
Okay. All right.
So Jack asked,
should he start Sanders or Henderson this week? Miles Sanders, sorry.
That's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd probably go with Henderson, to be honest, just because. So Miles Sanders did good last week, right? The concern is the opportunity. Everybody else did good too. Gainwell got a touchdown. Miles Sanders got a touchdown. I think Hurts had a rushing touchdown. So,
right.
You're concerned that if the opportunity doesn't, if he has a decent rush, and then he's easily replaceable, right? So he has a decent rush, they're going to pull him out, and put in Gainwell, and then Gainwell's going to get the touchdown, and that's what you worry about with the Rams with. What happened last week? It was Henderson's game. It was Henderson job to lose. It seemed like so. They didn't want Akers in there. The moment they put Akers in there, and the other team called a timeout, they pulled Akers back out. So Henderson right now has the coach's confidence. And again, you're worried because both players tend to have a timeshare, but I think Henderson has more opportunities.
Agreed. Last question. Wide receiver. Who would you start, Brandon Cooks or Kadarius Toomey? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. And then Corey Davis or Isaiah McKenzie?
Who was that? Corey Davis or McKenzie? Isaiah?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go with Corey Davis because of the opportunities. Corey Davis is going to see 10 balls. He's going to get 10 balls coming at him, where Isaiah is just there's a lot to go around right now. If Gabe Davis don't play, he's going to get a little bit more opportunity, but you've got a lot of players. You've got Diggs that requires the ball. You got Davis that requires the ball, and he's just low man on the pecking order. Again, we always talk about it. I like opportunity. I like the guy that's going to get the ball the most. Can Isaiah McKenzie get a touchdown? Sure. Just he won't have as many opportunities as Gabe Davis.
Right. I understand. All right, folks. So last question from you. Who is going to be the outstar player of this week's game, or this week? Who's going to shine this week?
Who's going to shine this week out of everybody, huh?
Out of everybody.
This is a tough one. One guy that's really surprised me and I'm really happy with, and I think that it continues, is going to be Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
He made the most out of every opportunity. Looked fast, looked fluid. I think, I think he could be, upwards of RB3 this week, and at the floor, maybe 5. But he's a guy that I think is just going to get all the opportunities in that offense. They do have Tooney playing, but he's coming off an injury, and he's been very up or down. He kind of rides that roller coaster. I think the most consistent piece in that offense is going to be Barkley, and they know that. Everybody knows that, and I think he's just going to continue to be great.
Yeah. I got another question.
And some great runners up for Justin Jefferson. Go ahead.
No, I got one more question for you. Just popped up here. How do you feel about starting Robbie Anderson since he had a great week last week?
I know he was a big ad for a lot of people. He seems so right now. I'd start him over DJ Moore. He seemed to have that chemistry with Baker. And I guess because he changed his name, he's just a little bit better, huh? No, start him over who, though? So that's the concern.
No,
right?
yeah. He just said that he feel comfortable starting. That was it.
Oh, do I feel comfortable starting him? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would start him.
Oh, here goes another question here. Wow. Oh, no, I was just getting a thumbs up. All right, cool. That's it for me, man. Do you have any questions? Does it, from anybody there?
No. No. They sent them all to you.
Yeah, I know.
But right on. No, I'm good luck in week 2, guys. I hope you won last week. I hope you continue rolling. The big thing is like we always say, you got to monitor that free agency, right? Look for there's been some crazy drops in a few of the leagues I was in. So Elijah Mitchell was dropped in one league, which is crazy to me. Tom Brady was dropped in another league. So watch these people that, run out and grab these 1 week star players, that always happens, right? You got to find consistency in some of these guys, but they're running out and just grabbing anybody and everybody that had a good week. And that's going to happen. Isaiah McKenzie, I think it was one of the big ones. And I don't mind him, but at the same time, remember where the pecking order is, right? Look at, if you're curious, pull up depth charts. And look who the number 1 receiver is. Look who the number 2 receiver is. Look who the number 3 receiver is. And if you're trying to grab these 4, 5, and 6 receivers, probably not smart. They're going to have good weeks. They're going to. You can't cover everybody, right? And when these guys try, this practice player tries out on the field, yeah, he might get a touchdown because no one knows who he is. No one knows. No one cares. They're worried about covering Diggs. They're worried about covering Gabe Davis. So don't fall for that, right? I mean, I guess that's the big thing. Be confident in starting your starters. Be confident in the team, and at the same time, if it's not working, like Aaron Rodgers, if it didn't work, be ready to make that hard decision and set him and start your Carson Wentz or something. That's all I got, guys. I hope you all kill it this week. If you have any questions, let Scott know. We'll get those answered. We'll get those taken care of. Other than that, it's an hour until game time, so good luck, guys.
That's right, guys. Like Pope said, it's an hour until game time, so you got guys that's questionable. Make sure you keep a close eye on what's going to happen to your players there. Other than that, have a great week.
Get Kamara out, get Pittman out, get Julio Jones out of those lineups.
Yep, and have a great week. We'll get back with you on Tuesday. Give you a review of what's going on.